Imagine waking up in the morning, stretching, and feeling like you've unlocked some secret cheat code to productivity. No more staring at your to-do list in dread, no more waiting for motivation to strike like lightning, and definitely no more guilty scrolling through endless memes as the hours slip away. This is the Stickman Guide to being so productive, it feels illegal even when motivation is nowhere to be found. Prepare to follow Stickman through a whirlwind of simple, effective, and slightly absurd strategies that turn getting things done into an art form. First, let's clear the air. Motivation is nice when it shows up, but it's as unreliable as a paper umbrella in a rainstorm. Stickman knows this, and that's why he's not waiting around for motivation to arrive. Productivity is about systems, not moods. So, Stickman pulls out his invisible blueprint and begins with the single most powerful tool in his arsenal, the 2-minute rule. Picture Stickman squinting at a mountain of tasks. Instead of panicking, he points at one tiny pebble, the smallest, easiest thing he can do right now. If it takes less than 2 minutes, Stickman just does it. No hesitation, no overthinking, no motivational speeches. Dishes in the sink, washed, email reply, sent, socks on the floor, scooped up. In this world, small actions snowball into big results. Stickman's secret. Momentum is more valuable than motivation. Once he's moving, he keeps moving like a stick rolling down a hill. But what about the big, scary tasks? The ones that make you want to crawl under the covers with a cup of tea and a vague sense of dread. Stickman has a trick for those too, the atomic chunking method. He takes a project, breaks it into bite-sized pieces, and tackles one chunk at a time. If he was assigned to write a report, he'd start by opening a blank document. Next, he'd jot down a title, then maybe one sentence. With each tiny step, Stickman chips away at the mountain, never overwhelmed, never waiting for inspiration. The genius here is in making everything so small, so simple, that doing feels almost effortless. Stickman knows that you don't need motivation to walk across a room, and he applies that logic to every task on his list. Next, Stickman stands tall as he unveils his calendar, a minimalist grid, mostly empty except for a few bold marks. This is the sticky time block strategy. Stickman doesn't rely on endless willpower to power through his day. He schedules work, rest, and play in clear, focused blocks of time. 30 minutes to write, 5 minutes to dance like nobody's watching, 15 minutes to tackle emails, and so on. No block is too long. Stickman knows that humans, especially stick-shaped humans, have short attention spans. By giving each task a home on the schedule, Stickman eliminates decision fatigue, procrastination, and the endless "what should I do now" loop. When the time block ends, Stickman moves on guilt-free, knowing that everything important has its place. Now, productivity isn't just about doing more, it's about doing less of what doesn't matter. Stickman is ruthless when it comes to distractions. He draws a big, bold arrow pointing away from his phone, his notifications, and his endless tabs. He puts his devices on silent, closes unnecessary windows, and keeps only what he needs in front of him. If Stickman's workspace were a cartoon, it would be a blank canvas with a single pencil. And this minimalist approach means fewer interruptions. When Stickman works, he works. When he plays, he plays. No multitasking, no split focus, no sneaky peeks at social media. But let's talk about energy. Stickman may be thin, but he's no stranger to fatigue. That's why he treats energy like a rare resource. He pays attention to his body clock, noticing when he feels sharpest and most alert. For some, it's early morning. For others, late at night. Stickman schedules his hardest tasks during his peak energy hours. No heroic effort required, just a simple alignment of task and timing. When he's tired, he doesn't force productivity. He rests, stretches, or takes a brisk walk. Stickman knows that productivity is about sustainable effort, not burning out in a blaze of stick-shaped glory. Here's another secret. Stickman loves routines. Routines are like autopilot for productivity. Every morning, Stickman follows the same simple sequence: wake up, stretch, hydrate, review his tasks, and dive into his first-time block. By repeating the same steps each day, Stickman removes the need for motivation. Routines turn important actions into habits. When Stickman brushes his teeth, he doesn't debate whether he feels like it, he just does it. The same goes for work, exercise, and even rest. By building routines, Stickman ensures he never wastes energy deciding what to do next. Sometimes the biggest productivity boost comes from knowing what not to do. Stickman makes a habit of saying no to things that don't matter. He's not afraid to cross tasks off his list, delegate, or simply let go of unnecessary obligations. If a task doesn't move him closer to his goals, Stickman gives it the boot. This ruthless prioritization means Stickman's to-do list is always lean, focused, and manageable. He spends his time on what matters and lets the rest fall away. Now, let's talk about accountability. Stickman may be solitary, but he knows the power of sharing his goals. He finds a buddy, a fellow stick perhaps, and tells them what he's planning to accomplish. Sometimes he even posts his progress on a sticky note stuck to the fridge. By making his intentions public, Stickman creates a sense of commitment even when motivation is nowhere to be found. If he gets stuck, his stick buddy checks in, offers encouragement, or simply asks, "How's it going?" This tiny bit of social pressure is often enough to keep Stickman moving forward, one stick-legged step at a time. What about those days when everything feels overwhelming, when the mountain of tasks looks more like Everest? Stickman embraces the minimum viable productivity mindset. Instead of aiming for a perfect day, Stickman asks, what's the minimum I need to do to move forward? Maybe it's answering one email, or reading one page, or taking a single step toward his goal. By lowering the bar, Stickman makes progress inevitable. Even on his worst days, he knows that tiny actions add up and that consistency beats intensity every time. Stickman also knows how to reward himself. After completing a time block or finishing a tough task, he celebrates with a simple treat: a cup of tea, a quick doodle, or a 5-minute break to do absolutely nothing. These micro rewards keep his spirits high, making productivity feel less like a chore and more like a game. Stickman's motto: if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Let's not forget the power of environment. Stickman curates his workspace for maximum focus. He clears the clutter, sets up his tools, and creates a space that invites action. If he's working on creative tasks, he adds a splash of inspiration, a funny stick drawing, a quote, or a goofy hat. For deep work, he keeps it simple, just the essentials, arranged for easy reach. Stickman knows that your surroundings shape your behavior, and he designs his environment to make productivity automatic. Occasionally, Stickman faces the dreaded procrastination monster. Instead of wrestling with it, he sidesteps with a clever trick: the 5-minute commitment. He tells himself he'll work on a task for just 5 minutes, no pressure, no marathon sessions. Once he starts, he usually keeps going. The hardest part is beginning, and Stickman knows that a tiny commitment is easier to keep than a big one. 5 minutes is all it takes to break the inertia. Stickman is also a fan of batching similar tasks. Instead of hopping from one thing to another, he groups similar activities together. Emails in one batch, phone calls in another, errands in a single trip. This reduces the mental cost of switching gears, making each task faster and easier. Stickman's workflow is smooth, streamlined, and efficient. Let's talk about learning. Stickman is always curious. He seeks smarter ways to work, not just harder. He reads, listens, and asks questions. If he finds a shortcut, he tests it. If a process is clunky, he simplifies it. Stickman's productivity grows as he learns, adapts, and improves. He's not afraid to experiment, fail, and try again. In moments of doubt, Stickman remembers his why. Every productive person needs a reason, a goal, a dream, a sense of purpose. Stickman sketches his goals, whether it's finishing a project, mastering a skill, or simply having more free time. When motivation is missing, Stickman's why gives him direction. He moves forward not because he feels like it, but because he knows where he's going. Stickman is also a master of self-kindness. Productivity isn't about perfection, it's about progress. On days when things go wrong, Stickman forgives himself, learns, and tries again. He knows that beating himself up only slows him down. By treating himself with compassion, Stickman stays resilient, flexible, and ready for whatever comes next. At the end of each day, Stickman reviews his progress. He celebrates what went well, notes what could be better, and sets up tomorrow's plan. This simple reflection keeps him honest, motivated, and focused. Every day is a new chance to improve, experiment, and grow. So, what does it take to be so productive it feels illegal with zero motivation required? The answer, according to Stickman, is simple. Systems, habits, and a dash of stick-figure humor. Break tasks into tiny chunks. Block your time. Eliminate distractions. Align your work with your energy. Build routines. Prioritize ruthlessly. Get accountability. Lower the bar when needed. Reward yourself. Curate your environment. Batch your tasks. Keep learning. Remember your reason. Be kind to yourself. Reflect and reset. Stickman's productivity isn't a secret. It's a set of strategies anyone can use. No superpowers, no dramatic speeches, no waiting for the perfect mood. Just clear, simple actions that add up to outrageous results. If you want to join Stickman in his world of illegal productivity, start small, stay consistent, and remember, motivation is optional. Action is everything. With each stick-figure step, Stickman proves that you don't need to feel inspired to get things done. You just need a plan, a little bit of discipline, and the willingness to keep moving forward, even if it's one stick leg at a time. So grab a pencil, sketch your blueprint, and get ready to be so productive, people will wonder if you're using cheat codes. Stickman will be cheering you on, stick arms raised in goofy triumph every step of the way.